Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including four-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
Three-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS Telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare two laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Good evening and welcome everybody to the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series. We return for another series here live and exclusive as always on Apex Racing TV. Oh wow, what a way to kickstart the season here in Mount Panorama, Bathurst, the iconic circuit. It's become an undeniable part of Australian sporting history and a gathering pace for petrol heads the world over thanks to its mix of speed, danger and endurance. Winding its way up and down a hillside, the circuit has been enchanting racing fans since the 1930s and remains one of the most challenging circuits in world motorsport. Winning here, whatever the category, is a major accolade for any driver. I'm Tim Cox and I'm joined by DJ Clark in the commentary booth, and we have Alex Simpson with us on production. DJ, what can we say? We're talking about it before the show. The Porsche Cup, it's a raw driver's car. No ABS, no traction control. Thrown to the mix, Bathurst, what effectively is, as soon as you get it up past turn 2, is almost like a street circuit. Incredibly tight, narrow, twisty, fast. What's the worst that could happen?
Well, there's quite a lot of worse things that can happen, but one thing I will tell you for sure is this is going to be a real test of driver skill out here today, coming up and down this this mountain known as Panorama is such an incredible test of bravery and talent. Really no overtaking zones up and down this hill. It is all down to just making sure you hit your apexes. And if you don't get a single one of them right, it can set you up and not only lose you time as this sequence of corners just seems to flow into one another, but you can have disastrous consequences bouncing off the wall, causing a track blockage. It can get very, very hairy.
It can do indeed, and we've seen a few incidents during practice already. Qualifying has just got underway, so we've joined just at exactly the right time. The drivers currently on their out laps. And who is going to come out on top in qualifying? Well, we'll find out about some just over 8 minutes time. That's all that's left at qualifying. Of course, a much longer track time here. Sorry, lap time. And I'm sure we'll see undoubtedly some dramas, and I think DJ is who's going to be the most bravest through the section we can see at the moment on screen that's going to come out on top in qualifying.
Yeah, most certainly that run from Skyline all the way down to Forest Elbow. You talk about that momentum. You talk about that needing to string the corners together very well. It is all about bravery through there. With, as you mentioned, no ABS. Very, very tricky section. It is all downhill. You have the weight of the car pulling you as well. It's so very easy to lock up the tires in that area, and so drivers are just going to have to be extra, especially careful.
They are indeed, and it's, you know, this, despite the track length, there's not many places for overtaking realistically. Of course, you've got the run down the hill to sort of close out the lap, down Conrod straight into the chase, the notorious chase, and then of course maybe you might see a few guys into Murray's corner, maybe Hell corner, but of course turn 2 that presents a big chance for overtaking into Quarry Bend. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, DJ. I mean, I think if someone tries to make an overtaking move across the top of the mountain, well, they're a lot more braver than you and I.
Well, they're a lot more brave than me to begin with, because when this shows up on the schedule, I'm not even sure if I'm going to race it. I certainly don't have the talent to run up the hill. But yeah, Quarry Bend there, as you can see, the 111 going through right there. It is a good overtaking opportunity, but it is very, very tricky. The exit of that corner a lot tighter than you think. And if you are offline a little bit, you get under the throttle a little bit too early, you pick up some understeer, it can spit you right out into that outside wall. Probably not a race-ending incident at that point, but you're certainly going to ding up the car and lose a couple of tenths.
You are indeed, and it could almost be a little bit of the survival of the fittest here at Bathurst, and whoever can make it through cleanly could well stand to pick up quite a few places. Despite Chloe, you know, the drivers, some of them undoubtedly qualifying further down the field and just waiting for the first drivers to come across the line. That he's going to be one of the first drivers across the line. Let's see what the benchmark time is that he's going to set for everyone to beat. The RPC Esports driver, you see him there coming across the line. Well, there you go, a 2:04.7. Benchmark the Norwegian set. Well, his fellow countryman Strong instantly beating it there by just under 3 attempts. Just look at how close some of the times are there. Baim and Lissim to Europeans. Just 400ths of a second is all that separates those guys. See Parker, the Englishman there, just heading up into 8th place. But just looking at those times there, it just really shows that our top two, the sort of pace that these two Norwegians are setting, are strong and got to start.
Yeah, very, very impressive times. And the top 5 here separated by only, top 6 only separated by about a second. And then when you consider how long this lap is, it really goes to show you just how much talent is on display as we continue to watch Godestred here working his way up the hill. Now, this is the part of the track where you really don't want to be following anybody on this qualifying. You're going to get the benefit of the draft down the straight, but up and down the hill, you want to have some breathing room around you, and that's good as Mokes behind him has just enough space that he's not really going to get backed up by the 666 at all.
Round Forest Elbow and Winded trying to get up close and personal. The wall is close as you dare to get as much momentum as you head out down the notorious Comrade Straight, down the hill towards the chase. You have to take a bit of a wider entry. You see a few of the drivers there just using that tarmac on the left-hand side of the track to really open up the corner as much as possible and then through the curbs, because they are quite dangerous here at Panorama, and then run down to Murray's to round out their lap. And just looking at it, I think Goddard, he's definitely on an improving lap. It'll be interesting to see what sort of time he's managed to, well, he managed to post, there you go, to take it even closer to Strong, but not good enough for pole. 200ths of a second is all that's separating our top two right now, as we see Cope just head up into 7th. Good enough for what the 4th row of the grid here in Australia. This is probably one of the more challenging circuits here that we've got throughout the season. We've got some more easier ones for the drivers, such as Red Bull Ring, where we'll be heading to Austria in round 3. That's going to be an interesting one in round 4 across the notorious bumps there, and a real mix of tracks, and rounding up the season the new circuit to iRacing, Knock Hill. Just see Strong right now and whether he can improve on that time. Only 200ths of a second decorating himself, and the Goddard right now in that battle for pole. Two Scandinavians as he heads up the hill. What sort of time can he post? Well, it's going to be going quicker. Sector 2 set the best sector of anyone, an improvement in Sector 3 as well. He starts the descent down the mountain. This tight and technical section. Right on board with him right now. I mean, just watch him here now, DJ. Just to have taken up, could have opened up that final corner onto the Comrade Straight there, Forest Elbow, just a little bit more, maybe lost a little bit of time there. Having said that, Sector 4, best of anyone, and definitely on a flyer right now.
Yeah, he's definitely pushing it, and yeah, could have gone a little bit closer to the apex, maybe got a little closer to the wall there coming onto the Conrad Straight, but it didn't seem to hurt his time that much. Let's see how he handles the chase. Avoiding those curbs, as you said, on the inside, taking a little bit on the outside. This circuit very notorious for some pretty high curving, so trying to be very careful there. Brings it down into Murray's. This is such a tight corner. Let's see what that time is as he crosses over the line. That's a 2:04.6. Oh.
He lost it all in that final sector, didn't he? That's where this lap came undone, and his previous best of a 2:04.4 is going to stand. He's able to get in another lap for qualifying, just coming to the end, entering into the final minute here. Those drivers that aren't on a flying lap now won't get a chance to improve. Currently in 10th even. He can improve and move up through the timing sheet. Currently only 2 tenths behind Lasine, in front of him on the grid. Can he improve? Just to move up 1 row. That's only around about 3/10 of a second to get himself in amongst Lanya and Gundalis, as we see Draker just head up into 8th place there, the Romanian. Great lap from him in the closing stages of qualifying, and interestingly as well, that final sector he set was the best of anyone so far. Definitely some pace from him, and one to watch out for potentially during the race.
Yeah, indeed. And if he's got that straight line speed, that final sector really coming in at the end of the Conrad Straight right before the chase. So that tells me that he has got some good top line speed to be able to take that all the way in there. He's one to watch for.
Definitely, and it's going to be fascinating to see. We'll be able to. We've got a warm up. Sorry, just be able to bring you into your grid here. So Strom on pole with his fellow Scandinavian driver Goddard joining him on the front row. Tilbeam, he is in 3rd, sharing a row with Christiansen in 4th. Got Mokes as an all-British row on the 3rd row with Cope. Lanya and Draco, we saw just head up into 8th place in the final stages of qualifying. Couldn't listen to the scene, make up your top 10 and the 5th row of the grid. Ward has Diamantas with him on the 6th row. We move through the grid. We've then got Parker and Merchant with Jensen and Forster in 15th and 16th. Harassa has Britt Mignot with him. And then on the 10th row is Spalek and Misinia. Glamo has Silcock with him. And to round out your field, this 22 car grid here in Australia. And Silcock, of course, see by his flag there, maybe a little bit of local knowledge coming into play potentially. Well, we'll find out. It hasn't worked out for him in qualifying, but just waiting for everyone to take to the grid, and we'll be here away racing at Mount Panorama. I'm sure is going to be some absolutely epic racing. This first for 2 heats here tonight. I can't wait for this already. We haven't even got going yet, DJ, and the anticipation is brewing within inside me.
Yeah, as with me, we're going to have to watch out. As you and I have said, this first corner, hell corner, deceptive in terms of how many incidents we see get done there, and then the whole field funneling their way up the hill. You've got to run single file up through there, so patience, very key early on.
Definitely, here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing in round 1 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup League. And we are away. And it's a great start from the guys on the front row. Strom and Goddenstad as they head down to Hell Corner for the first time. David Christiansen just almost side by side. But the German just getting ahead and maintaining the goal. Spinner in the background there. I think that's Cope. He's off. A bit of melee in the background already. You called it early on, DJ. Hell Corner could prove to be hell for some of our drivers. And it definitely has as they head up the hill for the first time. David Christiansen battling out for that 3rd place, and oh no, into the wall there. We've lost Tilbeam. He's gone and he's going to have to sit there and wait for the whole field to stream through. Oh wow, already we knew there'd be incidents. We thought it might be across the top of the mountain. Wow, it's already happened. Turns 1 and 2 here in Australia. As I see our top guys just getting away cleanly. Big improvements, really able to pick up from those. You see Drenker and Ward dueling it out, and that's a bit of a brave position to be fighting it out there. They come around the Philomene and across Skyline for the first time, and then begin the descent down the mountain. DJ, what a start here already.
Indeed, what a start. Hell Corner and Quarry Bend really catching these drivers out. As I said, you've got to be careful if you want to take that corner too wide. That's exactly what happened to Tilbeam. He just got on the throttle a little bit too early trying to make that move, and the car understeered out to the track. But as we watch here, Strum and Godderstead starting to pull a big lead over Christensen behind them, up to the tune of about 1.6 seconds, and that is absolutely crucial because that means they will be out of the effective draft range for Christensen, and they will be able to have a fight unto themselves and not have to worry about an attack from behind.
Interestingly, Goddenstad, you can see the car really bouncing around as they came through the chase, and this guy's already pulling out a big margin here in lap 1. Podium currently locked out by the Scandinavians, occupying 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Strong leads from Goddenstad, Christiansen in 3rd. But oh, we've got a spinner in the background there. That's the scene. The Belgium driver, and he's falling through the order. He's coming under massive pressure. Minya and Silkov, 4 places so far, really capitalising from that earlier mistakes that so many of the drivers made. They head up the hill, up Mountain Straight. Let's take a little look at the replay. And this is going to be how he lost it into Murray's.
Oh, just taught way too much of that curb there, and that threw off the suspension of that Porsche. Heads-up play to get onto the binders, get that car woed up before he got into the wall, be able to escape with damage, but down 6 spots from his starting position. He is going to have to be fighting in this mid-pack down in 16th.
Some really tight battles here. Head up the mountains. A couple of attempts separating so many of our drivers. Times being set up and down the field, of course. It's the first of 2 25-minute races. Don't forget as well, for race 2, the top 8 will be a reverse grid. So at the moment, Draker remaining in. He's currently in 8th. He will be starting on pole, but we've still got a long way to go. Only 3 minutes completed so far here at Bathurst. Just see Forster as he comes down through follow Salvo. Gets out onto the straight, and ooh, was that a bit of a rub there, DJ, with the wall on the outside?
I think it was the slightest of rubs. Now, he's going to be fine. That's not going to hurt his chances all that much. Oh, it's behind. That's Harstad trying to make a move on Yumantis as we focus back on the leaders here, Strom and Gotterstead. That gap just holding stubbornly at about 0.3 of a second. I'm getting the sense here that Gotterstead doesn't want to make the move here too early. He knows he and Strom have pretty good relative pace, and he just wants to stick behind here and wait until the perfect opportunity presents itself.
So we see a bit of action down the field as Yumantas just losing a place to cope there. Making progress, of course, one of the drivers to lose out from that early on incident. Pro driver just making his way through the field. That's up another place. That's got the Brit up into 13th. His target is the Czech Republic driver, Harasta. Some 7 attempts up the road. It's just to see what progress they can make up Mountain Straight and whether he can catch him at all. Close up that gap, just keeping one eye on it. Nothing too much as Yumantas coming under attack from the scene. He's going to head up the inside there into Quarry Bend. A great overtake there. Got to the apex burst. Early on the brakes. A move done. The scene up into 14th.
Yeah, it's a good move there for him. That's really, really textbook and not too aggressive from Lacina. He could have pushed Yumantis out to the outside wall a little bit more if he felt it, but you could tell he just knew he had more speed than Yumantis did and just able to push his way by nice and easy. And look at that gap already. Already about a second in between the two of them. Way more speed. Oh, is that Lucine into the wall?
It is, isn't it? And here comes Yumantas. He's going to regain that position. Oh, look at the damage on that Porsche Cup car. There's already a bit of smoke there into Forest Elbow. Maybe just someone had a lockup on the entry there. But this is going to really hamper Lacine heading down the straight. He's going to have lost top speed as you see him moving out to the right-hand side, almost weaving there, heading down Comrade straight, and he's losing a hot. Surely it's going to be suspension damage the way that car is moving around all over the track.
It is indeed. He is fighting that car. You can see just how much input he is having to put on, even going in a straight line. Some very heavy suspension damage to that 291. He is in a world of hurt here.
Expect to see him head to the pits. There we go, into the pits he goes. Another driver done here, and wow, another victim of the mountain, Mount Panorama. Just see two Sakurul Esports drivers, Draker and Kundalis. 2 attempts separating these guys right now. Eastern Europeans are going to be working together. They've got a second to make up over Ward, Privateer, who's currently in 5th. To close up that gap, and already starting to take a bit of time out of the Brits. Davis Credit Parker is coming along for the ride. He's currently in 8th place, up 5 places so far. However, the biggest riser so far is Silcock. Started on the back of the grid, up to 15. It's up to 7 places. Great start by him, and with 7 minutes already into this race. Plenty of racing left here in race 1. Of course, it's going to be a big fight to get inside that top 8. If you see that develop, likes of Merchant and Forster looking to get onto the back of Parker and nick that place off. Of course, that's worth pole in race 2. It's definitely going to be developed as we head back to the lead, and wow, goodness that he's taken another 10th out of his teammate, but Strong's still holding the lead right now, and I think these 2 teammates are really working together right now to pull away from, well, ironically, he's also their teammate at RPC Esports, Christensen, who's occupying that 3rd place right now, DJ.
Yeah, they are, and I'm getting the sense that they are in constant communication communication about this. You're not seeing any defensive maneuvers from Strom. I know if I was in that car, I'd be very, very worried about that 666 coming up behind me. But as these two are teammates, it just looks like a little bit of tandem driving. And Christensen, for his part, he's been able to pull away from Lang behind to the tune of about 3 seconds. So getting some good gaps built up here for these three teammates.
Start the mountain section once more. Quarry Bend, turn 2. Bit of the curb there. As much as you do, you need to be a little bit careful as you catapult you. Just take it in the wrong direction. You can so easily end up in the wall, but this side's definitely starting to come warmer now. The car's settled in. 4 laps completed. So really, really motoring, you see. There's nobody, there are only drivers currently setting lap times in the 2:04s. The rest of the field are some 2 tenths slower. And that's the quickest driver, which is Christensen, their teammate, in 3rd place. Beyond that, there's only a gap of further 2 3 tenths, which is currently occupied by Lang. He's currently in 4th for Aquiva Motorsports. It's going to be interesting to see what these two, whether they work together. Well, they're working together clearly now. It's a bit of a lock up there from Strom. To maybe catch up a little bit. That gap's just extending out for the first time so far this race, up to 6 tenths of a second now. But do you think the gloves are going to start to come off as the race progresses?
Well, I've got to think that the old Roger Penske rules of racing are going to come into play. You play as a teammate and you work as a team for the first 90% of the race, and when you get down into the final 10%, let those gloves come off and you are going to fight for it. So I definitely think that when we get down into the closing 5 minutes of this first heat, that is when you're going to see some really fierce battling from Gotterstedt and Strom. The two of them clearly have the pace. I think Gotterstedt has at least enough to try a couple of overtakes as we jump back in the field.
Mantas just lost a place there. He's got Beam in front of him. Of course, we saw earlier on incident and recovery through the field. She's down 10 places into 13th. However, he is coming back through. Definitely see this driver's got raw pace to burn. So it'll be interesting to see as well as just out onto curve a little bit there from the German. However, it's going to be interesting come race 2 if he can get away cleanly. Just with the likes of Strom and Gotterstedt, who is, as it stands at the moment, going to be starting in 7th and 8th place. What Beam can do and whether he can take the fight to them and get onto the back of them and follow these guys through the pack, as they're undoubtedly going to carve through.
Yeah, indeed, and that's part of the interesting thing here with these 2 heat races. You have that first bad heat race. You're hoping to be able to gain some more positions, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some drivers being a little bit more cautious in the start of this second heat race when we get to that time, so as to not have one of the big spins coming through Hell Corner. So we focus on Drakia here, working his way around. He hasn't really been able to close up to David Ward in that pink Porsche up ahead of him. That gap has been expanding out. Ward is holding it at about 1.1, 1.2 seconds right now, of a little bit of a lockup coming through Forrest Elbow.
Definitely, and it'll be interesting to see what Romania can do, and whether he can close up, just keeping half an eye on the distance, the time distance between these two drivers, not really able to make much of an impression. So as the gap of momentum, he's actually starting to taking a couple of attempts out of the Brit so far. However, as the late great Murray Walker said, catching people is one thing, but passing is another, as we see a side-by-side battle here between Merchant and Forster. Merchant coming out on top to hold on to that 10th place for now. He's scrapping out. You get the feeling it's only going to be time before the end of swapping places once more. Forster, he's going to be in pole position surely here, DJ, as they head across the start-finish straight, round how if you get a good exit out of Howell Corner, it's going to have the slipstream all the way up the hill at Mountain straight to Quarry Bend.
He would, but he backed up Hell Corner a little bit there. Took a later break, or took an earlier braking point, and that really cost him a couple of tenths. The gap, it was about 0.5 of a second. I don't think he is going to be close enough by the time they get to Quarry Bend.
There you go, absolutely spot on. Able to capitalise on what's some great racing from those two not too long ago. Interesting to see, these guys need to be really working together because they've dropped right off the back of Cope and just over half race distance so far. Contact currently is strong from Godestad. Those two still way out in front. Christensen playing third place, making it a complete lockout for the Scandinavians right now on the podium of RPC Esports. We've got Lang in fourth, Ward his fifth, Trickier, he is sixth, Kundalis seventh, Parker eighth. On pole, that eighth place in pole position, reverse grid for race two. Cope is ninth, Merchant 10th. Forster just definitely dropping off the back of them, and just looking at it, coming up on a bit of traffic there. That's Martin Jensen. So many Scandinavians in the field here. We've got 5 of them out on track, and a real mixed bag of a race for these guys. Of course, Christensen and Godestad, we saw them last season here on the channel. They finished 2nd and 3rd in the championship behind Bo Albert, who unfortunately isn't racing this season, so not here to defend his title. However, expect to see great progress from those two. But however, Strom definitely, based on the opening race here, that Mount Panorama going to be one to watch out for as the season progresses. You just see Merchant, the Frenchman, still holding on to that 10th place over Forster. Forster definitely closing up. What can he do? I mean, you see, it's that little bit of damage I can see there on the rear wing of Merchant. Maybe a little bit sort of right-hand side.
Yeah, you're right. That end plate just a little bit out of space, but here is the move for Forster. Gets a much better run out of Hell Corner, and Cope trying to go around the outside there, but there's an absolute drag race between Forster and Merchant.
Here he comes. Forster finally finds his way through and gets ahead into Quarry Bend. He's going to hold on to that position now. Across the top of the mountain, no real chance to overtake. So head back to Cope, who's found his way past Parker. He's finally lost that 8th place. Cope, he's already pulled out 0.8 of a second over Parker. It's what's initially scrapping it out. Cope really making some progress now. He's been able to get his way past Parker.
Yeah, just really looking like Parker was holding up the Englishman there. And just now that he is able to get out and ahead, really pulling that gap out, he is going to be out of pretty effective draft range here, so he's not going to have to worry about an attack coming down into the chase, as Cope is just able to really put down the power and start to get ahead. And as you said earlier, that 8th place, very crucial, as that will be pole for the second heat here today.
These two, what can we say about them? They've been exactly like this all race long, Strom and Godestad. Aim to throw a blanket over the pair of them, matching lap times constantly. Fastest laps of the race is only 200ths of a second separating them. It's the identicalness of them. Godestad is starting to close up again once more. That gap had descended out to around about 0.6 of a second. Close to just under 0.4. It'll be interesting to see once we get inside those last couple of laps. Godestad looks to make a move on his teammate, fellow teammate Christensen, down in 3rd and around about 5 seconds behind these leads pair. He is sitting comfortably with a further 5 seconds over Lang, who's occupying 4th. Really interesting to see as we see another battle further down the field. Mignot just making his way past Harasta. However, look, here comes the Czech driver. Garrett taking all the momentum round the outside of Hell Corner and carrying that one up the hill. And who is going to get to Quarry Bend first? And it's got to be Harasta. Looks like he's going to keep hold of it. He goes defensive to the inside. Mignot nearly follows him through, then head onto the grass, and somehow Arasta just about holds onto it. We see him just force squeezing Mignot out to the outside, but Mignot, wow, he's looking incredibly racy right now, DJ, and it's getting really interesting between these two. We head to the latter stages of the race.
Indeed, getting very feisty. Indeed, you saw Mina trying to take that look maybe into the cutting. I've seen a move work out there a couple of times, but that's about the last spot you're going to get a chance for an overtake here coming up the mountain. Now Minot's just got to focus on trying to minimize errors and get a good run off of Boris Elbow. That's going to be his next best opportunity.
Down the hill once more. We're not just losing a bit of time to Harasta. Clearly not his best section out on track. Where he's definitely dominant is down these downhill sections, and also uphill down the two main straights of Colrod and Mountain. However, Harasta, just look at the gap he's really been able to pull out there. It's 1.2 seconds. I mean, as they came up the hill, these two were side by side. They were scrapping over the same millimeters of tarmac. And now Harasta's pulled out a second lead. Talking to drivers, scrapping out. Merchant, he's coming under pressure from the recovering Sylvain from Race Fox, and he's right up behind the Frenchman now. It's a move into Quarry Bend. Who's going to come out on top between these two? One of the AM drivers in this league for being just having to sit behind him for now, and a little bit of a lock up there, which has made him run wide. That's just going to give Merchant a bit of breathing space. Until being what a recovery drive from him. He looked completely down and out from those opening laps, but he's got the car back up into 12th, which is a great result from him so far.
Yeah, it is indeed, and he's only got those 0.4 of a second to get by Merchant Forrester, about 2 seconds up the road of that, so it's going to be hard for him to close down that gap to be able to crack the top 10, but a good recovery drive from Beam. I would not be surprised to see him very high up towards the field in this second race, as there is plenty of speed to be found in that 131 Porsche right up the back here of Daniel Merchant. Let's see if he's able to get the run out of Forrest Elbow. Merchant can try to back up this corner. That's exactly what he's doing, trying to force Beam to just get onto the brakes a little earlier than he'd like. He's able to build a little bit of a gap there. That is great defensive driving from Daniel Merchant.
So already heading to that left-hand side, hoping to pick up a slight distant tow from Forster, who's ahead. It's going to be a bit too far back to be able to capitalise on that as they head down into the chase. It's absolutely iconic corner. Most iconic corners in the whole of world motorsport. This is how much the curves do you dare take? I'm pretty much staying off them, apart from that exit one. And this is where Beam's definitely stronger. Closing right up behind Merchant. What can he do? As they head down to Hell Corner, the sun's slightly getting in the driver's eyes here as it's starting to set. Currently around about 6:15 local time here in Australia, and here comes the German. He's got the run out of Hell Corner as they head up the hill. Get the feeling this is finally going to be his chance across the bump. Now but once more Merchant just holding on to that place. Trump's not able to quite get the slipstream effect that maybe they were hoping. Heading up Mountain Straight right now, DJ. It just seems like they seem to be lacking that little bit of an edge. Get the move done.
Yeah, really and truly doesn't seem to be as effective as I would have anticipated. And a little bit surprising there from Merchant. We saw him be a little bit defensive on that last lap, but ran the traditional racing line going through on the second round here. Oh, Beam looking very aggressive. Don't try to make a move up through the parks there, buddy. That is not going to work out for you.
See, he's just backed off ever so slightly, but he definitely feels like he's being held up by Frenchman Merchant right now. However, with no overtaking opportunities, it's not worth risking it. However, the German doesn't stop him remaining right on the bumper, trying to find a little bit of a way past there. Definitely doing his best to try and distract Merchant. But here we go, he's finally right up behind him. They come around Forrest Elbow and head down Conrod Straight. This is going to be a time to strike as they race down the hill. But still Merchant holding on to where the speed is coming from, despite the great exit of being got off Forrest Elbow. And Merchant lives to fight another day as they come down into the chase. Still holding on to that place, but I think DJ's definitely, for the sake of, you know, we're across the top of the mountain where you can't really pass. That's the only reason why Merchant's holding on to that place right now.
Yeah, indeed, and it just knows where to be defensive about the car. We've seen him back up the corners just the way that you want to do it. It's very, very heads-up driving there, as now gloves are off here between Gotterstedt and Strom. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of aggression here out of that 666, as it is go time.
This has to come across through McPhillamy Park. Through Skyline, as the corners just mount up one after another. We begin the downhill section through the S's, down into the dip where literally the track really just drops away from you. Oh, it's extreme as the corkscrew at Laguna Seca, but it's not far off that. The way front end of the car just disappears down into that dip. It's a bit of a lock-up once more from Strom. Has Gotterstedt got in the tank? Of course, trying to carry on from where he left off last season, and for the first time, Strom looking to defend from his teammate as they come down into the chase. Feeling bar a mistake, Strom's going to hold on to this one despite how close Gotterstedt is getting. It looks like he's just running out of time here. It's Gotterstedt, and Strom is looking good for the win. They come down into Murray's corner, and Strom is going to take the checker flag here in round one, race one of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series. The teammate Christensen, he's going to come home in third, make it an RPC Esports lockout on the podium for the Scandinavian drivers. Lang's going to hold on to fourth. Just having a little look in the background. Looks like Ward is going to keep it, as well as being still unable to find a way past Merchant. So they're really fighting it out right to the line now. One current corner left into Murray's. We see Merchant just going defensive to the inside line. Can he hold on to it? Beam just doesn't have an answer, and he's going to run out of the track to make his way past. He's still going to have a go for it right up until the line, but Merchant holds on by just under 2 attempts. Oh wow, what a great finish between those two. Just also looking, James Parker's got past Cope again once more. That means he's going to get that 8th place, as we see Messina and Spalek right side by side, and they bang doors on the entry into Murray's. The German Spalek, he's going to hold on to that 18th place. Oh wow. I mean, it seems like, you know, we're in for a bit more of a calmer race finish, DJ, and then all of a sudden, it all came alive, and everyone started scrapping right until the line.
Yeah, they certainly did. A lot of patience, especially after we saw those incidents on lap 1. A lot of drivers here just choosing discretion as the better part of valor and trying to wait until the end and putting on some great battles. But one of my big takeaways here is there is not as much draft as we thought there was coming down the Conrad Straight. It doesn't look to be that effective. The majority of the maneuvers that we saw really pulled off were going down the mountain straight into Quarry Bend.
Let's just bring up your classified results here from race 1 of round 1 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series. John taking the victory with his teammate Gotterstedt in second, and Christensen making it a all-Scandinavian RPC Esports podium. For race 1, Lang, he came home in 4th. Drexia was a 5th, Ward 6th, Kundalis 7th, James Parker managed to get past Cope in the end, to get 8th, and also that all-important pole position for race 2. Thomas Cope, he was 9th. Forster rounding out your top 10. Merchant just holding off till being right to the line, only 2 attempts separating those two guys. Silcock, what a great drive from him to get himself up into 13th, having started right in last position. Harista 14th, Yamantas 15th, Lacine, why not? Sparlek, Messina and Mokes rounding out your top 20 with Glamo and Jensen completing the field. Martin Jensen finishing 1 lap down. Just heading in into a bit of a warm-up between the 2 races. Of course, as we mentioned, that we will have Reverse top 8 for race 2. Now, as always, if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening here at Apex Racing TV, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell to stay up to date. Of course, you can follow us on our social medias. Twitter, we are at Apex Racing TV. Instagram, that's also Apex Racing TV. And Facebook is facebook.com/Apex Racing TV. Oh, wow. We're just going to head to a quick ad break now before we head into race 2. A quick ad break there for the Apex Racing Academy. Well, worth joining if you're looking to improve your on-track performance, as so many of these drivers have done. Now, worth mentioning, and we haven't really covered it too much, of course, the drivers split between a Pro and AM categories. Now, the cut-off limit to be in Pro is 3,000 IR, or I rating. Now, for those of you maybe new, might be watching iRacing broadcast for the first time, your iRacing is your skill level. And of course, you start, once you get out of the rookies class, you start off with about 1,400, and then depending on how you perform within a race, it's on how many points you gain or lose. I don't know about yourself, DJ. Definitely, hence why I'm in the commentary booth far more than I am racing. Definitely nowhere near that 3,000 mark, and definitely it just warrants some of the strength that some of these drivers really possess in this league.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always loath to reveal my I rating when I'm on air, as it will take away much of my credibility.
Likewise.
Yeah. But yeah, having that over 3K mark, very, very difficult to do, and it shows you just the amount of talent here in this Apex Racing Academy series. A lot of drivers with a lot of skill, and it was really on display in that last race. We saw a lot of good heads-up driving, taking this circuit to its limit, and not a lot of problems coming up and over the hill. I don't think we really had any of the big major track blockage moments that we were sort of worried may happen coming into this broadcast, and it's a testament to the skill level of these drivers.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a worry with map panorama, because it's, like we were saying before the broadcast, as soon as you get round turn 2, it basically turns into a street circuit where you've got the walls right up against the edge of the track, and sometimes all it takes is just one mistake, through no one's fault of someone in front of you, and you end up with a big pile-up through where there's nowhere for either the spinning car to go, but also the cars behind. As much as you can try and throw out the anchor and slam on the brakes, you still you can't stop in time due to the speed of which these Porsche Cup cars are traveling at.
No, you really can't. As we said in the beginning, no ABS on it, and so if you've got to really slam on the brakes, chances are more often than not you're going to lock up those front or rear tires, and that's not going to slow you down quite in the way you'd like it to.
So let's take you into your grid for race 2. Parker, as we mentioned, taking pole due to that, finishing in 8th place in the last race. He's got Cunliffe alongside him for company on the front row. Ward and Dressier are on the second row. Lang and Christensen make up your third row. Gottestad and Strom, they're in 7th and 8th on the fourth row. Fourth row, Cope and Forster make up the 5th row. Merchant and Tilbeam, watch for him coming through the field. He's down in 12th after what was a good qualifying for race 1 and falling out. Matt Silcock, he's in 13th with Harasta for company. Yamantas has a scene alongside him. Tom Minya has Spalek in 17th and 18th. Bassinia and Mokes make up your top 20, and 10th row of the grid, Glamo and Jensen. Scandinavian back row of the grid in 21st and 22nd. But here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing in race 2 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series. And the adventure begins here once more. Oh, someone not getting away in the background, not getting off the grid, still stationary. And Parker remains in the lead. You can see everyone just bunching up behind him. We've almost got a free wide just in the background as we see Christiansen and Godestad coming through the field there. And just trying to see who that is in between them there. And it's all getting really tight within that midfield. It's Lang who's in the middle of them. That's not somewhere you want to be coming into. Turn 2 for the first time. So you head up the hill. In the background there, still squabbling over positions, but a great start by Parker, leading the field through up the hill. Like everyone's got away relatively clean. It was Merchant who didn't get away off the grid. Well, looks like still, he's only just about getting away. A technical failure for him, but Parker still leads the way. Linksman providing an exemplary start and getting away cleanly, leading the field through. They come across Skyline and start the descent down the hill once more. Mentioned Godestad Strom, our winner from last time. He's remained in 8th. Tilbeam, so let's keep one eye on him. He's managed to make a couple of places to head up into 10th. But the best start, Martin Jensen, up 7 places already. A great start from the Scandinavian, from Lekona. As they come down the hill once more. See a bit of weaving there from Kundlis, just trying to maybe generate some heat in his tyres maybe there, DJ.
Yeah, it is a pretty chilly day out here in Australia, 77 degrees track temperature, so trying to do it, but Kundlis looks like he's got a very good run going down into the chase, going to poke his nose to the outside, looking for the over-under, but held off well from Parker, but that's going to bunch up the field behind him, throw a blanket here over these about top 5. They are all running very close, big in the back.
There was definitely, I think Yomansas was one of the drivers caught up in that one. And now Parker is under a whole world of pressure. As, like you say, DJ, everyone concertinaing up behind them. And there's a swap as Lang has managed to get past Drakia. A 4th place is all out onto the grass in the background there. Might have been Cope there. We'll see if we can bring up a replay of that as they head up the hill once more. But Parker really under pressure from Kundlis, trying to find a way past. Can Kundlis make a move around the outside? He's going to give it a go. Can he hold on? No, Parker fighting back. And they're still side by side. Who's going to come out on top? Between these two, Parker's going to have the inside from these 2 corners. But don't discredit, although he's lost out. He's lost out as Kundlis and Ward completely and utterly picked his pocket there and headed through. A great move from Kundlis, completely setting that up way before. Let's take a look at what happened to Yamantas. Lose it across the curbing maybe. Oh no, just completely loses the rear end all by himself there.
And that could be a little bit of those cool tires, maybe just a little bit too much throttle and a little bit too much steering input. No real damage to the rear wing, so he's not going to be in that much trouble, but definitely putting him down the field as he's going to find himself all the way down in 17th.
See James Parker trying to find his way past and trying to cover some of those places, but Lang right behind him. Needs to be careful as much as he's trying to find his way past Ward. He needs to be careful of the advances of Lang. He's also then got Trier, Christensen, Godestad, and Strong all tucked up right behind as this train comes down the hill. Kundlis leading the way from Ward. We ride on board with Parker right now. What can he do? Can he make a move into the chase? We see Ward going defensive. Or even maybe, oh, hello! Lang completely just headed up the inside there, and a great move by the German. Poor Parker completely and utterly napping there, and now Parker is under pressure from the RPC Esports car of Christensen. And Godestad heading through, and Parker is tumbling through the order after being on the aggressive move and trying to find his way past Ward there, DJ.
Yeah, just not paying off is in the back. They continue to be side by side there. The top 3 in single file order, but Christensen and Parker absolutely duking it out. Christensen able to carry a little bit more speed around the outside. I think he's got that position. He's going to bring Godestad along with him. Is it going into Quarry Bend here? Is that going to be a little bit of a move from Lang? He's certainly thinking about it.
Big contact between our top three. They're into the wall. It's going to bunch the whole field up. Everyone's managed to get through somehow, but somehow Lang has managed to keep that car going. Doesn't look like it's got too much damage either. And Lang has got away with a big one there. But Christensen got us out of strong. They've managed to get past Parker, where he had to slow up, where he was on the outside line. Let's take another look. And we see from above. Oh, bit of contact there from Lang into the back of Ward, and that's what sent him spinning. And Ward, that is going to be race over him. He's headed to pits. Wow. Now, DJ, we said we were struggling for overtakes, maybe a little, up mountain straight especially. And then all of a sudden, this race has seemed to have completely flipped on its head compared to race one.
Indeed it has. I think the driver's just a little bit over-eager to get up towards the front of the field and reestablish that pecking order that we saw last time around. Just a little bit of contact there, and that is where that sort of street section style of racing that you talked about earlier in the broadcast comes into play. Just the smallest of errors, sending a car off into the wall and then bringing everybody up behind him. Absolute heartbreak there for those drivers. Ward especially, who had that great move on Parker through the cutting. It is heartbreaking to see his day end early.
Right now, drivers that have benefited are top four. They're all at 4 positions each. Lang leads from Christensen, Goddesad, then Strom. This guy's incredibly close. Parker isn't too far behind. He'll be hoping to stay in contact with these guys. We've got Jakir, Cope, Mokes, Jensen and Harasta running out in top 10. Mokes and Jensen, however, really capitalised. They're at 12th and 13th places, respectively, currently occupying 8th and 9th place, as we just see in the foreground there. Christensen goes for the lead, and Lang runs wide, runs in too deep, and loses 3 places. The RPC Esports drivers and Christensen, Goddesad and Strom. Expect to see these guys working together to pull away from the rest of the field, as Lang has dropped all the way to 4th.
Exactly, it's deja vu all over again with those red, black, and silver machines rounding out your podium positions. This time the order just inverted from what it was last time with Christensen in the lead.
Goddesad coming in for a good haul of points there with these second places as it stands at the moment. But as we see, it can all be undone in a split second. One tiny mistake from one of the drivers can completely and utterly transform this race. Come round Forest Elbow, head down the hill, a bit of a lock-up there. I think that might be Strong once more. Looking up quite a bit into Forest Elbow. They all come down Conrod Straight. Race to the chase. However, expect these drivers not to be on the attack, these top 3. They'll be all working together to pull away. However, say about that, here comes Goddesad on Christensen. He's going to head up the inside. They go for the lead, but just no. Christensen sweeps around the outside and slams the door shut on his teammate. And Goddesad has to settle for second. But look, here comes Strom. One sort of move he's going to do is just covering off Lang for now. And this is an absolute dogfight here at Mount Panorama in this battle for the top 4, DJ.
It certainly is, and these teammates have to be careful because Paul Lang is going to be very aggressive and angry that he fell back through the order running wide through Corey Bend on that last lap. And if we see more fights out of Goddesad and Christensen like that, that's just going to back them and their teammate Strom into Lang. And we have seen the aggression and the speed as here comes another attack from Goddesad. No, he's going to think better of it.
Electing just to move back in behind and adopt that racing line. He knows that just literally a bad exit of Quarry Bend is going to put him right into the clutches of Strom and Lang, who are everyone bumper to bumper as they come round the cutting, round Griffin's Mount, up through Reed Park, round to the left-hander that is Silver Park. Look at this next left-hander, McPhillamy. Now nearly at the peak of the circuit's highest point, and now they begin the descent through Skyline. This is where it's all about just remaining neat and tidy for these drivers. They're not going to be wanting to give an inch Parker has lost a couple of places. He's dropped down to 7th. Jukay and Cope have managed to find their way past. However, it's all about this battle for the lead. Godestad just taking a wider entry there, trying to really carry as much momentum and pace as he can through Forest Elbow there, DJ. And it's going to be interesting to see what sort of attack he can mount on Christensen down into the chase.
I'm looking at their top speeds, and it does look like the Godestad was able to get a little bit more. Here he comes again, thinking about it to the inside of the chase. He's going to go for it. No, he is going to think better of it once again. Not going for the all-out aggressive maneuver, not wanting to take his teammate off the road.
Well, you said about it earlier, DJ. Godestad needs to be really, really careful. Just to find his way past Christensen, because all this is doing is backing Strom right up into Lang. And you said the German is going to be, definitely not happy that he lost those 3 places to these RPC Esports drivers, and he's going to want to find his way past, and he's definitely going to have his elbows out. And these guys need to be really, really careful how they manage this race right now, because one little bit of contact could see it be race ending for all 3 of them potentially.
Yeah, very well could. We saw that issue earlier on with Ward and the rest of the leaders and how they all got bottled up right through that exact corner. They've got to pick their moments carefully. If I'm Godestad here, I am not trying to make the maneuver, or I am on the horn with Christensen saying, I have got more speed. Let's act like this is an oval race. Let's play a little bit of leapfrog, maybe going down the Conrad straight. Let me lead, let me use the draft to get some more speed, but not seeing that out of these drivers quite yet.
Jukay, the Romanian, currently in 5th place. This is the fastest lap of the race so far in race 2 at 2:05.55 last time around. He's making progress, and where these guys are battling, he's starting to close up bit by bit. What's currently a 4-way battle for the lead is soon going to become a 5-way at this rate. But Jukay, he's bringing Thomas Cope along for the ride as well. Those two currently finding out, see just how close they are in the background. But Christensen, for the first time, has got some breathing room, and Godestad not getting the best amount of stations. Here comes Strom for this battle for 2nd place. Can he find his way past where Godestad has been able to get past Christensen? They're going to be side by side down into the trace. Strom, he's on that right-hand side of the screen right now, and he's got the move done. He's got past Godestad, and he's taking control of the situation. And Lang now right all over the back of Godestad.
Looking like for a second that there's going to be a little bit of a fight back, but Lang very, very aggressive. Godestad caught a whole bunch of curbing coming into the chase. That's what really put him offline. He is close enough. He can think about a maneuver here if he wants. There you see in the background, that's Jukay going defensive against Cope as they work their way now out of Hell Corner and onto the mountain straight. A little bit of weaving up in front from Christensen.
Trying to break that draft over his teammates behind. You see really moving around. Everyone's snaking around behind him, trying to follow in behind. He's keeping one eye on that battle in the background between Jukay and Cope. They're still remaining as is, but those two really, if they were to work together, they'd soon be right up onto the back of this battle right now, DJ.
They would indeed.
No! Strom's running too deep. He's run too deep, and he's lost 2 places to Godestad and Lang. And has he incurred any damage where he grazed the wall? Has it bent his steering? These are the big questions that we need to know the answers to. And how much is this going to affect Strom's race as they come across Skyline? Oh no! That's Godestad! He's out wide, and he just about manages to hold on to it there. I don't know how quite he managed to save that one.
I do not know either, but that is the luckiest thing I've seen in a good long while. As for Strom, I was checking in on it. It doesn't look like he has much steering damage. The car handling relatively normally. A little bit of a scrape to the right-hand side, but not massive cosmetic damage. You can see just a little bit of a bend there on that right front splitter, but that appears to be almost the extent of the aerodynamic damage.
Display all into the hands of Christensen. He's pulled out 1.7 second lead over these guys. As here's comes Lamb. Everyone go defensive to the inside, trying to hug up that inside line with Godestad and Lang. So trying to find the way through, but here comes Strom. What can he do to fight back? He's going to be on the outside. Lang's going to defend that inside line. And but they elect just to stay as they are for now. But look what's happened. Here comes Shakaya, here comes Cope. They're now right in this fight of what is now a 5-way battle for the last 2 places on the podium. Here comes Strom, he's gone to the inside into Helm corner, they need to be careful. They avoid contact somehow, and that's going to be a drag race side by side up Mountain Straight. Who's going to go out victorious? Will it be Lang? Will it be Strom? Lang's going to have the inside line into Corey Beck. The money's going to be on him, surely. But we know the pedigree that Strom has got. Can he take a move around the outside to come onto the brakes? And Lang just about holds on to it for now. But look at the battle that's happening behind them. Duquet and Cope, they were always tripping up over one another. But these two are scrapping out themselves in front of them, of Lang and Strom.
Oh my goodness gracious, this battle, and it's still continuing on. Cope trying to take a move around the outside as they work their way up the hill. As he has it done, he does!
Wow, absolutely spectacular racing here in race 2 of round 1 of the Apex Racing Academy, and this is how Cope got the move done. Wow, purely just got the better drive there out of the cutting, and that's brave. Take it side by side and maintain that side by side. As they came around Griffiths Mountain Park and as they came into Solomon Park, Cope was ahead and the move was done. Look, DJ, well, he's absolutely come alive in race 2. It's absolutely spectacular out on track as we see. He's locked in a bit of a battle. He's trying to close up on Humantas. He's just ahead of him. He's got the scene all over his rear wing, his gearbox, and also his engine. Of course, the engine in the rear of these Porsche 911s.
Yeah, and that makes things a little bit difficult when you're trying to go through some of the higher speed corners. The car will want to oversteer a little bit, that rear end wanting to pop around. Remember, we saw Humantas having that mistake coming through this exact corner in the first race, and that is one of the telltale signs that you are driving one of these Porsche Cup cars, is that tendency of the rear end to just want to snap out and turn around on you.
See, really scrapping it out right now, like we've seen in the front. The scene just carrying a bit of front end damage from some earlier contact. That's not going to be helping his straight line speed right now. This is where Magnot's chance to defend is going to maintain as Parker's managed to get his way past Jensen to get himself up into 8th place. So James Parker's going to be gutted because he could have been right in amongst that top scrap. So unlucky just to get caught wide on the outside when we lost. We nearly lost our top 3. Lang just managed to hold on to it. I mean, so many stories to tell from race 2 compared to race 1, DJ.
Yeah, it's certainly more aggressive, certainly more feisty, and we've seen a much more aggressive battle up at the front in particular, and we haven't really been able to focus down the field like we were to in the first race just because that scrap for the lead was so intense.
Definitely was indeed, but now Christensen, he's actually interesting. Godestad has managed to close up some of the gap. Christensen had got 1.7 seconds over Godestad. That gap has dropped down to... Oh no, something's happened to Lang. He's dropped a couple of places. Where is Lang? There he is. And he's behind Modes. There's no damage. I'm not sure. He can't have come into contact with the wall. What has happened to Lang? He heads down the hill. Is he just running a bit too... Oh, he spun, that's why.
Yeah, spun it around there, just tapped the wall very, very lightly, but that is an incident all of his own doing, and rest assured that Paul Lang is going to be kicking himself as he is now in a battle with Parker, as Parker's going to go for a crossover going down into Murray's, thinks better of it, and Lang's going to hold on to 7th place.
It's absolutely going for Lang. He's had 2 chances of strong finishes here in round 1. First one through. Race 1 through. Oh, is that Cope off on the infield there? It is. That's Cope. Oh, Cope after driving really well, he got himself up into 5th place. So elevated, and due to that, Lang, this is what happened to Cope. Just too much curve, maybe a little bit of grass there, DJ, and that's what sent him swinging round.
Yeah, a little bit too much curve, maybe a little bit early on the throttle there. Both things just causing him to spin around, and a real shame as he had been able to get by Dracia there on the previous lap and move himself up into that 4th place position, and then throwing it all away there going through Murray's.
That is really putting pedal to the metal right now. That gap between himself and Christensen is down to 3/10 of a second. In doing so, he set the fastest lap of the race so far. Stand at 2:04.98. The first driver races getting to the 2:04s. Christensen is really starting to feel the pressure once more from his teammate. Interestingly, Strom has not been able to come along for the ride with Goddestad. He's ran about just under 3 seconds off the back of these two.
Well, and that's a little bit of what we saw from Christensen in that first race, and I think a big part of that is not being in that draft range, not even getting a whiff of it down the Conrad and Mountain Straights. It really comes back to bite you, and he is losing out to the tune of a couple miles an hour over Goddardstrad there on the Conrad Straight, and that is what is causing him to fall back further and further.
That's really closing in, and they're coming up to David Ward. Of course, was fighting for the podium finishes himself right at the start of the race. Up in that incident at turn 2. Lang was able to get away with it. Ward fell through the order. How compliant is he going to be with moving over and letting these guys through? What part of the track is Christensen going to catch him at? It's going to be on the mountain section, isn't it? And this could actually allow Goddestad to close up this fold. Oh, no, you see Ward just getting right out of the accelerator, allowing him to see through. Has that distracted Christensen at all? Doesn't look like that. The gap remaining at 3/10 of a second between these two guys. I mean, can you believe it, DJ? We've completed 22 minutes out of the 25 of this race. I don't know quite where that's gone.
Nor do I. It has just absolutely flown by as these battles out on track have continued to rage. And yeah, massive credit there to David Ward, just being very, very heads up, staying out of the way of everyone. And I think he's actually parking it. It looks like he's letting the whole field on by here at this point. But we continue to watch that battle. Oh, Cope just got past.
Rasta, yeah, he's going to wait. He's on his way past. It goes from bad to worse for Cope. Such a strong position. However, he's now playing the aggressor all over the back end. The Czech Republic driver currently in 9th. Rasta, what can he do to get away as they come through the dipper? They'll run down now to the forest elbow. If Cope can remain right on the back of Harasta. Let's see. Oh, nearly loses it there. He's drifting the rear end as he got maybe the accelerator a little bit too early, but he's still maintained with his striking distance over Harasta. And here comes Cope. What can he do as they come down into the chase, the fastest part of the circuit? Cope heads to the inside as they enter his first part. He's going to have the outside line though. Can he take the momentum all the way around the outside? Just clips the grass, harass the bumps across the curbs, and that's going to allow Cope to retake 9th position.
Aggressive driving there from Cope to get that move down into the chase. Harasta doing everything he could do to fight onto that, and very, very close going down into Murray's. He's not letting this one go quietly.
To our final lap here at Mount Panorama, Bathurst, Australia. Goddestad leading the way. No, Goddestad, he's got past. As you see Cope out onto the grass, this is going to allow Harasta back through. In the meantime, Goddestad and Christensen, they're swapping places as well. Action all up and down the field. And Christensen says he managed to keep hold of that one. We'll come back to that one maybe in a minute. Let's just watch Cope. And Harasta has got back past into 9th place. All of Cope just undoing all of his hard work there. And Christensen is falling right off the back of Goddestad. He could potentially actually lose another place to Strom, who's catching a magnificent rakes and knots. So just watch Cope all over the back of Harasta. Who's going to come out on top between these two in this battle for 9th place? Spectacular racing from these guys to come across McPhillamy. And this is what's happening out up front. Goddestad leading the way. Christensen, you can see him just in the background there. Strom has caught right up onto the back of these guys. Oh, it's dropped into the wall out on the exit of Forest Elbow. That surely means he's going to finish in third. And Christensen is maybe too far back to retake the place from Godestad, who looks like he's going to romp home to victory here in race 2 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series at Mount Panorama. Just literally 2 more corners left to go. That's through the chase. On the run down to Murray's corner, Godestad's just got to get it through cleanly now, and he's going to be taking the victory here. Christensen's too far back. Dropped as well, and it's another lockout for the Scandinavians of RPC Esports. Will be in a different audio. Godestad takes the victory. Christensen will harass her. He's out onto the grass there, and that's the lockout through. It's all happening on the final lap here, DJ.
It is indeed. Harasta just misjudging the braking through the cutting, and that's sending him off wide. Thomas Cope will be able to take that 9th place position. Harasta will have to settle for 10th.
Wow, what a final lap of racing. Let's see if we can bring you some replays of that final lap of where it's all just happening up and down the field. Christensen and Godestad swapping places left, right and centre. Likewise, Cope and Harasta. Let's take a look. So this is coming out of Hell Corner and the race up the straight between Godestad and Christensen. Christensen was just initially in front on the right-hand side, well, the left-hand side as you look at it now on your screen. I expect we're going to see Godestad head around the outside and take the lead. Yes. Oh, just loses it there, DJ. And that's what allowed Christensen to get back past again. Or did he?
Able to get back past, but then as they went into the cutting, he gave his teammate just a little bit too much room coming through there, and that allowed for Godestad to just be able to force that car up into that top position. And I think from there on out, Christensen just got in his head a little bit. We talked about the rhythm and momentum that you need to carry up and down the hill. He lost that and was just trying to hold on to the car, and that's what allowed for Strum to close in those final couple of sectors.
I'm not too sure if Christensen didn't even clip the wall on the exit of the cutting, just with the front right, where, like you say, he ran it a bit too deep and maybe gave Godestad just that little bit too much respect and a little bit too much room. I know these guys are teammates, but even so, it just felt like he made it a little bit too easy for Godestad.
Yeah, I think he did just maybe made it a little bit too simple there with that contact from Godestad, but one way or the other, a great day for all 3 of those teammates, a double lockout of the podium.
Spectacular stuff, and it's going to be interesting to see how those guys progress as the season continues. But Strom taking that set. Oh, that's for race 2. Let's get you race. So that's from race 1 even. Well, let's see if we can bring you up the race 2 results. Here we go. So the classified results are Godestad coming home with the victory. Christensen sitting for 2nd, Strom 3rd. Again, another lockout for the RPC Esports drivers. Drakir, he was 4th. Scott Mokes 5th. Lang, wow, he'll be gutted with that 6th place. James Parker comes home 7th. Martin Jensen was 1st in the AMS and 8th overall. Thomas Cope in that battle with Harasta over 9th place. Harasta 2nd in the AMS. Forster was 11th. Mignot 3rd within AM and 12th overall. Spalek, Lassine, Merchant Missir, Silcock, who'll be gutted by that one after making good progress in race 1. Back through the order a little bit there. Come home 17th. Glamo 18th. Yamantas 19th. And then we just start the drivers who were lapped. So David Ward rounding out the top 20. He was 2 laps down. Gundalis 9 laps down. And Tilbeam, another driver, going to be gutted by his results here today in Australia. Rounds out the field. He finished 10 laps down. Well, DJ, I don't know about you. I think I need to go and find a cold, dark room to go and sit in for 5 minutes and try and calm down after that one.
Yeah, I'm about the same way. Bathurst doing what Bathurst does best, providing excellent battles and some exciting stuff. A great way to kick off this season.
Well, joined by the winner of race 2, 2nd in race 1 is Godestad. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, that final lap of race 2, just talk us through it from your perspective, because it looked like it was really, really crazy.
Well, I can't really remember. It's all a blur.
I don't blame you. I mean, you were catching Christensen at an absolute massive rate of knots. Were there any team orders being played out between yourself, Christensen, and Strong?
No team orders. We know we fight fair with each other. I also have one less swing than him, so I caught him by some margin on the straights.
Definitely. And, I mean, interesting. I mean, two very, very different races for you. I mean, race 1 seemed to be more calmer from a viewer's perspective with yourself and Strom just, walking away. Whereas race 2, it felt like you really had to get your elbows out and really fight for that victory.
Yeah, it was really fun fighting up in the field. Just, good race from everybody that I saw, at least.
Of course, next week, a very, very different track as we had the championship. We head to Mid-Ohio, a completely different track. And how are you feeling about that one?
We raced there in Ivra just a month or so ago, so I have driven it some, so it should be good. I also like the track, so.
Definitely. And before we say goodbye to you, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to us all?
Yeah, shout out to my teammates for not crashing into each other. So, and I hope we made some for some good TV.
Definitely, it did indeed. And congratulations on your victory in race 2. That's Godestad victory in race 2 and second place in race 1. DJ, I've got someone for you to have a little chat with. Second in race 2, third in race 1. It's Christensen for you.
I am indeed catching up with Roger Christensen. And Roger, despite a double podium, I've got to feel like that you're a little bit gutted there after what happened on that last lap of the second heat.
Yeah, it's when you go out on the last lap in the lead, you wish to win, but today my two teammates had a lot more pace than me, so I'm happy with the results, especially for the team.
Well, going forward over the course of the season, are you going to be focused in a lot more on that team results and getting everybody forward, or are you going to be angling a little bit to get a victory here yourself?
I don't know if there's going to be how the competition is going to be. I think two of the other fast guy disappeared in the first race, and if they are not crashing out in the next races, there might be some more competition with other teams as well. But if it's like this, I think we have to go hard with each other in the team.
Well, and speaking of looking ahead, we head to Mid-Ohio and the sort of roller coaster that is. You think that one's going to catch you out a little bit, or are you looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to it. I feel like it's nothing compared to this track. So in the roller coaster and close walls and everything. So yeah, I think every track this season is better than this one. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, fantastic. Anybody you'd like to thank for this double podium here today?
Yeah, I got to thank my team and my teammates, RPC Esports and our main sponsor, Racing Performance Center. And my teammates, that's the most important guys, and always helping each other, moving and developing and getting faster. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Roger, and congratulations again. That was your double podium finisher here, Roger Christensen. Tim?
Wow, what a great, great night of action here in Australia in round 1 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series. Well, if that hasn't quite been enough action to whet your appetite. Coming up on the channel in around about 2.5 hours' time, we've got the TireTrack.com Road to Indy Series. They are at Virginia International Raceway for round 1 of the series. Then tomorrow night, it's a return of round 2 of the Apex Racing League's Touring Car Series. And wow, I mean, I covered last week's with Austin, and what an absolute great series that is turning out to be. Some absolutely epic racing from Silverstone last time out. On Friday night, it's myself and Austin. We're back for the Wave Italy ARA Prototype Championship at the Red Bull Ring for that one. And then coming up over the weekend, we've got Radical Racing Challenge. We've got the F3 VRS Super Series and Formula Renault 3.5. So make sure you stay tuned for those ones, of course, by hitting the subscribe button and turning on the bell notifications so you know when we go live. Of course, you can follow us on our social medias, which are at Apex Racing TV on Twitter. Instagram, that is Apex Racing TV, and Facebook is facebook.com/Apex Racing TV. Well, after an absolute epic night of racing from myself, DJ and Alex, we'll see you in a week's time as we head to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.